goosebumps every time, yeah, 713. To the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and honest, rider. I get those goosebumps every time. I'm around, yeah. Things I'm on, you make everything go fine. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the high, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
Up the Mags.
Yes, sir.
Come on, get in. Come on, get in there. Massive.
Welcome, one and all. Welcome. Oh, the glasses. You're right, Chris. You're on the case. The glasses there. Yes, welcome to Loaded Mag and UFC, the reaction show to Man United versus Newcastle. And it's Shades time. It might be 20 past 10 at night, but it's Shades time. And our run continues. And record-breaking victory tonight, lads. We haven't won in the Premier League at Old Trafford since 2013. That's okay. How are you all? I know you lads had a show this morning as well, Top Table Talk, but Chris, we'll go to you first. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm very, very good. After that performance, I mean, there was I said to you, didn't I, pre-show, there was a few minutes across the 90 where I was a bit nervous, should we say, and they came in the second half, by the way. I thought the first half was just like unbelievable. I just wish we got that third, but you know what? When you look back, full-time whistles blown, I think we managed the game brilliantly, and I am wonderful, mate. I'm four pints in, and
get the Guinness in,
couldn't be happier, and I know we're going to look at the league table later, but I think a couple of results might have gone our way this evening as well. So I'm all good, mate. I cannot complain. Pete, how you doing, fella?
Whew. Feels good tonight, boys. Not gonna lie, it feels fucking good tonight. Get in there, absolutely buzzing. And for special nights, we bring special things. So I've got Hennessy tonight. Why not? Why not? Hennessy. A fantastic performance, fantastic win, a statement win for Newcastle United. That means big things. 110%. And the reason why I was slightly late, boys, before we went live, so apologies, we went live a little bit late, my bad, is because I'm taking in the ambience. It's all Newcastle United tonight on Sky Sports. We don't get that very often. So we are the loving for Isak. He has his interview. Carragher's talking so much about all things Newcastle United. Fully deserved, right? This ain't about Man United tonight and how shit they are. It's about Newcastle United, and that's how it needs to stay. Brilliant stuff. Get in. Baz, how you feeling, fella? How are you?
Good. All good with me. Absolutely delighted with the win. When we defeat Man United, it's always good because so many people, so many family, friends, people I grew up with are all Man United fans in Ireland here. It's either Man United or Liverpool, really, across the board. So just nice to get a victory. So we've got that victory now at Old Trafford. Be nice to get one in Anfield in the coming into 2025. Yeah, bring that on as well. But boys, let us get into the game. And this is the team news. The only change being, it wasn't a change. Trips retained his spot, and Tino's on the bench. So probably not fully over his illness, so he's on the bench. Also, JT on the bench. Mad Dog himself gets to say didn't get sent to the stand, and that may come later. But good to see him there. So it's still Christmas time with JT involved. But happy enough with the squad, lads. How we lined out, lads?
Yeah, to be honest, Az, no complaints from me. I wouldn't say I was surprised to see Trippier, but I kind of understood it because he obviously came in last game, did very well. So it doesn't surprise me that he started, and yeah, the rest kind of picks itself at the moment, doesn't it? So yeah, no real big comments from me. Again, boys, I went into this game incredibly confident. I really, really did. I think I predicted 3-0 on the reaction. Well, sorry, the Top Table Talk show earlier today. I said 3-0. Yeah. So no, I was going in confident, and when I saw that lineup, I was like, yeah, happy with that. Really, really happy. Pete, did you have any thoughts on the lineup at all?
No, not in a negative way. I thought, yeah, absolutely, absolutely fine with that lineup. The only one you could only really argue is the Tino Livramento and Trippier change. And let's be honest, I thought Trippier was excellent in the previous game against Villa. So for me, my thought reasoning behind it was, and for me, it came to fruition, particularly in the first half, is that ability to hold possession on the ball with Trippier, how good he is with the ball, it meant that we could dominate their left-hand side because that was their weakness. We spoke to Kaz earlier on today in Top Table Talk, and he said their left-hand side is their weakness. So having someone that's capable on the ball would allow us to progress forward. And ultimately, that's kind of what we saw, which was amazing to see. So yeah, lineup, absolutely fine for me. No questions. Same for you, Daz?
Same for me. The only I suppose, yeah, I would have had Tino, but yeah, he wasn't fully fit, you imagine. And Trips, as you said, but Trips deserved to start after his performance against Villa. This was the Man United side as well that took to the pitch. Let's get into it because we didn't we've had to wait. Was it 26 seconds, 90 seconds? They're keeping us waiting now. This is not on because we had to wait 3 minutes for a goal this time. And yeah, Hall with the cross in after Bruno switches play. Header from Isak after the ball, took a bit of deflection on the way in. Went to VAR, but the goal stood. Martinez not picking up his man, as in Isak, and he was allowed a free header. As you said, Pete, it's not how shit they are, it's how good we are. Isak adding to his tally, moving up the charts as well again, lads. But 1-0 Newcastle. Chris, let's go to you. Thoughts on our first goal?
I celebrated like mad for that first goal. It was so well worked. It was just, we set out with our intent, didn't we? Early doors, we came out the stalls really, really quick. And Bruno with that spray ball over to Hall. I mean, you know what? I can't even go into any more detail over Lewis Hall. Like he's just absolutely brilliant. It was a wonderful ball into the box, and he puts it right on Alexander Isak's head. And Onana had no chance with it, absolutely no chance. But I was absolutely delighted, for us to go 1-0 up so early. A fantastic start to the game, brilliantly well worked goal. And Alexander Isak, he just scores goals, doesn't he? He just scores goals. And we heard Jamie Carragher and others waxing lyrical over him, Gary Neville as well, saying how wonderful he was. But I don't know why it's taken them this long to realise it, because he's absolutely brilliant. But fantastic goal, really, really well worked, and a great start to the game.
Yeah, it did kind of make me laugh at how Neville was just kind of he was kind of gobsmacked in that second half. But Pete, your thoughts on Isak's goal?
Stunning football. The way we carved Man United open with absolute ease, one-touch football, lovely movement all the way around, brilliant ball out to Hall, I believe it was, who played the ball in to Isak. And Isak, interestingly, a few days ago, he's been questioned that his headers are the only thing that kind of lets him down. He's not great in the air. Well, that's the third headed goal he scored this season. And boy, was it a good one, because the reason why it completely evades Onana is because he heads it down. It's a proper striker's finish. When you head that ball down, keep it nice and low, and it bounces literally on the line into the goal, there's no chance the keeper saving it. If that was headed up into the air, I do think Onana gets something on it to keep it out. But it's a lovely, lovely finish. And yeah, we were in dreamland. We were in absolute dreamland at that point. We said it earlier on today. Get the first goal, get the early goal, make them panic, because they came out at us, boys. They came out. They wanted to make a statement tonight. They had the fans behind them. They came out and they were pressing and all the rest of it. But we just absolutely breezed past that early press and that early pressure, and we just outplayed them, outsmarted them, and just a superb goal to kick us off for tonight. Brilliant stuff. Love it.
Let's move on, boys, because there's more. 10 minutes, J7 shot after a great run and work from Gordon. 30 minutes, Gordon getting on the end of a ball in, was at a tight angle, so nothing came of that. 16 minutes, Isak through after Bruno played a lovely ball. He tried to chip it. It did not work out at all. So yeah, a poor attempt at that. What would you have done there, Chris?
No, mate. Do you know what? You could see what he was trying to do, but you just want him to get it on target, don't you? And just like really hit it hard at Onana, because worst case scenario, it's going to go out for the corner, or it could ricochet. You know, there's so many things that could happen. I'm not going to criticize him because it's Alexander Isak. I can't criticize him, but he should have just hit the ball as hard as he could on target. And I think, you know, we either would have gone in, took a ricochet, you know, gone out for a corner, whatever. But yeah, it was frustrating. But we were still in the ascendancy at that point. So as I say, I don't want to focus on it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm going to move on here because on 80 minutes, Gordon cross after some nice passing from Newcastle. Big J7 applies the headed finish. VAR took a look at this as well. Gary Neville was adamant they kind of did come off his arm in some fashion. But anyway, the goal stood 2-0 Newcastle. Pete, we'll go to you for your reaction to Big Joelinton's goal.
Well, I'm not sure if it's me that's playing up on my internet, but I don't know if you can hear me that well.
Yeah, I can hear you,
mate. You guys are sounding a little. Oh, it does sound a little bit robotic there, so I wasn't too sure if it was me, my internet, or something else. But hey, it was just exactly what we needed. Again, dominant performance, boys. Some of the in my mind, we need to score that next goal. We have to make sure that we get the second goal, and we did. It's brilliant play. Out to Gordon with a lovely ball in, and Joelinton, big and strong, big physical presence, right in the middle of the goal, puts himself, not afraid to get stuck into a header and straight into the net. You know what annoyed me about it is this contention about the handball, or whether it's handball or not. I just think it's an absolute joke, really. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah. If that was the other way around and that was Man United's goal, they wouldn't have been checking that as closely as they did with VAR. But it's a brilliant headed goal. And yeah, at this point, I don't know if I said it to you guys, but I was just like, I want more. I want more at this point. I said we had our foot on the neck and we just needed to end it. That was what we needed to do. And I just wanted more at that point. But it was an absolute stunning start, a brilliant goal from Joelinton, and well deserved, fully deserved from Newcastle United, no doubt about it.
Cool. Chris, your thoughts on J7's goal?
Yeah, brilliant. As Pete's already said, really well worked. And you know what? When Gordon looped the ball into the box, when you saw it was J7, potentially getting on the end of it, you knew he was just going to throw his whole body at it. And I can't remember who the centre back was. I think Pete might have said it was Maguire, but you just knew whoever it was, Joelinton was going to steamroller them to make sure that he got something on it. And yeah, the VAR, looking at it as a potential handball, it's like, it was like there, and you think, come on, it's getting a bit silly now. Wasn't a clean header. At first, I thought he did head it, and then when I watched the replay, I was like, oh, okay, it wasn't his head, it was his shoulder, but it was there. For me, there was never any question. that it was a goal. But yeah, so at this point, I'm getting really excited. It's 2-0. And I'm thinking, I'm saying to our Callum who I'm watching it with, I'm going, this could be 4-0 by half time quite easily, because we were so dominant at that point. And Pete, you mentioned, us dominating possession, dominating the play. I kept seeing little triangles, and in the main, it was with Bruno, Tonali, and I think it was Bruno and Tonali with either Jacob Murphy on the right, or it was Tonali and Joelinton with either Hall or Gordon on the left. It was just these little, beautiful little triangles, and we just kept passing it around their midfield. Their midfield looked so pedestrian at some points. Like it was amazing to see, because like we absolutely dominated them in that first half, and it was fantastic. But yeah, 2-0 up. I'm buzzing at this point, and I'm thinking it's going to be 3 or 4.
And they could have, maybe should have as well. But let's go on, because 25 minutes, Hall has a shot saved, and Tonali is a shot which was deflected straight after that. Then it went to 26 minutes, and Nana, he does love a corner. Trips did try to score from a corner. It looked like he was going for that. He was trying to saw what he saw. He liked what he saw in the Wolves game, and said he'd have a shot at that as well. But moving on, 29 minutes, Isak, ball in the net, but it was offside. He was well offside there, so right call. Then 31 minutes, Tonali hits the post after a great pass and move from Newcastle, and they kind of did try to walk it in the net. Then a bit of a turning point for Man United. They decided to bring off Xerxes and bring on Kobe Mainoo, and that did make a difference, because they did need a change, but he did affect the game after that, as in he just kind of solidified them a bit, and they did kind of feed off that there. But moving on, 33 minutes, Highland with a chance when it went wide, just straight after the sub. Gordon then showed great work, tracking back with the ball, which is great to see. Then on the 46 minutes, right before half time, Shar, he kind of fucked up because he passed it straight to Mainoo, but lucky enough, Casemiro shot it wide. Very lucky. I think, Chris, you were saying there just before in our chat that we needed halftime to come there. We needed that just to kind of breather, because they were starting to get on top of us.
Yeah.
But that did take us to half. Sorry, Chris.
Oh no, mate. I was just going to say, no. It was absolutely what we needed at that point, because I felt like the last few minutes when Mainoo come on for Xerxes, didn't he? I think it was around the 35th minute. But in the last few minutes of the first half, I was thinking, they're starting to keep in. And what we wanted to avoid was them nicking one before half time to give them a little bit of hope. And there was a few mistakes. I think you mentioned Fabian Schär made a mistake at one point, and you just saw a little bit of complacency sneaking in. And the last thing you want is to concede just before half time. I know that we're 2-0 up at that point, so it wouldn't have been disastrous, but you don't want to give them any little crumb of hope. So it was really important, that we clung on, and sure that we got through to half time with that 2-goal lead as a minimum.
No, exactly right, Chris. And that took us to halftime. Us being 2-0 up at the break. Stop there for a second. Just going to apologize for our internet. There's internet issues here tonight. Definitely me, and maybe Pete as well. So apologies for that. But we'll carry on into the second half, and Pete should join us in a few seconds. But yeah, Man United did up the pace in that second half. Newcastle needed to try and find a way to control things again, and kill off the resurgence of Man United. Then on 57 minutes, Trips goes down holding his hamstring, but then comes back on again. But a minute later, there was a change made, and Tino came on. Right call there, Chris, for you, taking Trips off then when he was kind of hobbling?
Mate, 100%. I was surprised that he came back on the pitch, if I'm honest. I didn't think he would. Gary Neville Gary Neville was equally bemused, wasn't he? He said, a player of Trippier's experience, the game stopped because he got the injury off the ball, and he said, like, oh, it looks like his hamstring's done. Goes off, gets a little bit of treatment, and then he's wanting to come back on. But I think Eddie Howe, do you know what? It's credit to Trippier in the fact that he probably doesn't want, to kind of lose his place in the team. He wants to cement his place in back in the Newcastle 11. But the correct decision was to take him off. Any slight doubt, any concern over favoring an injury, he needs to be taken off. So it was good that Eddie Howe did that to protect him, before he did any serious damage. I mean, Pete, what did you think over the Tino Livramento coming on for Trippier substitution? Oh, he's not there.
I think Pete's paused.
He's not there.
Let's remove Pete from the screen for a sec. Till we see him moving again. Or else he's deep in thought. But we'll go on. Right. Man United, they in 58 minutes, they hit the post after a scramble of Maguire header that came off the post. And Hall got on the follow-up, Hall got the block in as well. He got one or two blocks in actually in that series of play. But then coming between the 60th minute and 70th minute piece back, there was an excellent series of passing from Newcastle, and the keep ball, that was great to see. I was like, if we had been 3-0 up, I would have been expecting the Olays to come in, but it was still a bit nervy at that stage. Then 73 minutes, Yarrow had a header from a corner, but it was wide. The downside of the night was Shar getting that booking, so he'll miss the Spurs game now as a result of that. Man United still getting half chances, but nothing came close. Then on the 84th minute, Willock came on, Gordon came off, Barnes on, Murphy off. Then J7 goes on the right, but plays deep. Willock goes into midfield, and Barnes plays on the left. But again, playing deep, it was what Eddie wanted to see out the game at that stage. But finished 2-0 Newcastle, a victory for us at Old Trafford. To the shouts of, "You seen United, now fuck off home." Boys, your overall summary of the game, give you a chance to talk. Pete, we go to you.
Yeah, go on, Pete.
As I said before, this is an absolute statement win for Newcastle United. We've been questioned about every win that we've had in the last 5. Leicester, they're shit. They're near the bottom. It's Brentford. We're at home in the cup. It's Ipswich. It's only Ipswich that are going to go down. Villa, 10 men, but we're winning comfortably anyway. This was the test. We haven't won this since 2013. Can we go to Old Trafford? Can we almost sort of exercise the demons that have cost us in recent games at Old Trafford, where we should have won and we haven't? Can we go there and be dominant? Can we go there and not feel sorry for Man United? Can we go there and put them to the sword? We did all of those things. Did all of those things tonight. Now, some people may question, but it should have been 4, it should have been 5, it should have been 6. Yeah, it should have been. But there's an element of what I saw from Newcastle United today that fills me with so much more confidence than what it would have been if it was 5, 6, 7-0. And it's the way we managed the game. The game management from Newcastle United was absolutely superb. When you go away to places like Old Trafford, you expect to ride your luck at times. They're hitting the post, the pinball in the box. Lads, that's all they had. That's all they had, is just to hit and hope into the box and hope that it landed to one of their players that they could lash it in. They didn't create nothing of any worth. The opportunities in the first half were created by our mistakes, not them generating their own chances through quality. It was our small, very small mistakes that gave them an opening. But they created nothing. And that's not just because it's Man United in a bad moment. That's because that's Newcastle United in a brilliant moment, and the way we dismantled them piece by piece. Their midfield was non-existent. That to pull Xerxes off and embarrass him because it wasn't working. Rasmus Højlund, who they spent stupid amounts of money on, was being dominated by Shaw and Byrne collectively. You know, Isak was running wild with De Ligt, who was at Bayern Munich and Juventus and all these teams that have been lauded as some of the best in Europe. Dismantled him. You know, little Martinez, bless him. He's only a toddler, and he was made to be that way against Joelinton.
You're taller than him, Pete.
Yeah, well, yeah, we all are because we're all the same height. We all are. So
I forgot.
Yeah, you forgot. Well, I'll remind you. Don't worry about that. Honestly, it is absolutely sensational. But boys, I have to say, the way we managed that second half filled me with so much more confidence than anything else possible. When we're up and we're dominant, we could have gone for the throat. We could have. I wanted it. I needed it in that second half. We didn't do it. But what we did is that we managed the game, the possession, the domination of possession, the playing out of tight spaces. I'm looking at Bruno Guimarães in the 91st minute, playing little 1-2 passes with Tino Livramento and Sandro Tonali out of our own area. Like that was not the Newcastle United I recognised of even 2 years ago, let alone 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Is doing that on their patch and doing it with such confidence and aplomb. It was an amazing thing to see. And that fills me with confidence because that's the type of team that if we can go there and do that, that's the type of team that will be fighting right at the top of the table at the end of the season. And that's why I'm so impressed with what I saw tonight. Yes, we would have loved more goals, of course, but clean sheet. Props to Dubravka. Another clean sheet on notched on his belt.
Yeah.
The defense, superb defensive displays, blocks, strength, power. You go through that team. What I'm seeing is something absolutely fantastic, and it fills me with so much confidence, not only going into the game on Saturday, but going into the second half of the season. And it touches on another point that I'll come back to later on in the show that is an absolute must moving forward. But so impressed, guys. Honestly, I am on absolute cloud nine right now. I never thought I'd feel as good as this going into this game. I feel amazing. Superb.
Chris, how was ending off December for you? And just remember, Chris, where we started December.
Yeah.
And then just bring up this picture again. And this nice little run we've gone on now, collecting up wins ever since that, of course, the draw against Liverpool, but ever since that Leicester game, win across the board. But how was the game for you tonight?
Game was brilliant, mate. I think, like Pete said, you know, during the game, I was a little bit frustrated because I wanted us to get that third, and I thought we were more than capable of it. But on reflection, you know, you look back, don't you, and you just think we did. Pete was spot on what he says. We did what we don't normally do. Eddie Howe has obviously said to the players at half time, listen, this game's yours. This game's yours. Now manage it. Manage it correctly. Don't take any risks. Don't go gung-ho. You've done what you need to do. You've won that first half. The game is there for the taking. Just don't mess it up. And it was funny because as frustrated as I was, and as I say, I wanted that third goal, I saw like a maturity. I saw like a team that we managed the game like a Man City would, or an Arsenal would, or a Chelsea would, or, you know, like a Man United would back in the day. We didn't take any risks. We didn't go gung-ho. We didn't think we've got them, you know. Pete mentioned about, you know, having the foot on the neck. We did. But we didn't overdo it. We just basically saw the game out and managed it really well. And I just felt like it was a mature and considered second half performance. Almost, I'm trying to think of the words to describe it. Almost like I say, of a team that's like experienced, a team that knows, like, you know, how to see games out. And in the past, that's what we've been so guilty of, where we've not seen games out, or we've gone, oh, why didn't we do this and why didn't we do that? And, you know, Pete mentioned earlier, you know, about like the passing around the back and making sure that it was all calculated and it was all calm. I said to our Callum during the match, that second half, we didn't get out of third gear, but we didn't need to get out of third gear. It was a case of, you know, job done. let's just see it through now. You know, we knew the subs were going to come. We knew Man United had to come out a little bit and press and attack us because obviously they were 2-0 down. But the damage had been done. We'd done the damage. And it was almost, you could imagine Eddie Howe just going, mate, boys, pull it back, calm down, just see it out. Just manage the game in the correct way. And that's exactly what we did. Fantastic result, mate. Looking now at those fixtures in December, I didn't think, and I think I said that on air, didn't I? I didn't think we were capable of doing this. I didn't think we could do it. And we have. And it's brilliant to see. And, you know, you're looking at the league table, you're looking at the other results, you're looking at the January fixtures coming up. My blue mate messaged tonight on the group and says, "Oh, another easy fixture for Newcastle next weekend, Tottenham away. When are these easy fixtures going to stop?" And I said, "Well, I've got bad news for you, because our fixture list in January looks promising." And I sent him the list of fixtures in January. Obviously, I think there was a little bit of tongue in cheek in there, but you've got to be encouraged, and you've got to think that we've got the potential now to really kick on. We spoke about the league and how, you know, all it needs is teams to get 3 or 4 wins on the bounce and create a little bit of a gap. I think now we're halfway through the season, we're going to see gaps formulating. I think we're going to see it. And I just hope that we're at the top end of when those gaps do get created, because there's an opportunity for us here, boys, and it's a huge opportunity. We didn't think Champions League was on the table, but now I firmly believe that it is on the table. There's a possibility there. There absolutely is. But it's how we perform over the coming 5-6 weeks. There's still more work to do, but we've put ourselves in a great position, is what I'd say. And the performance tonight, mate, was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Boys,
I agree with everything you're saying there, Chris.
You go.
Okay, it's the delay, Pete. So no need to apologize. But just agreeing with everything you say, Chris. But if we just glance at the table for a second, we are sitting there in 5th spot. That's where the 3 of us had Newcastle at the very, very start of the season. We're at the halfway point now. It's taken us a while to get back into that position, really. But we're sitting in 5th spot. We are poised to kick on from here, as long as there's no injuries or no major injuries, suspensions. I know we have Shar now out for the City game, for the Spurs game. But and the window is now open. We have a chance to redeem ourselves a bit as well and strengthen in the transfer window in January. But sorry, Pete, you were going to jump in and say something there.
Yeah. Have any of you talked about Trippier?
No.
About
the sub.
Yeah, I don't think he was injured. I don't think he was injured. You could see how frustrated he was when he came off. And you could see him mouthing the words, "That's bullshit," which I thought was quite funny, because I actually thought what he did was extremely smart in that he went down. I thought he went down to take the sting out of the game at that point in the game. So he was holding his hamstring. It may have been tight, maybe a little bit of cramp, which is what it was. I don't think he's injured. I don't think it's his hamstring. If anything, it's a little bit of cramp. He had the same against Villa, but I think after a while he felt all right to carry on. I think he wanted to carry on. I'll be honest, Kieran Trippier looks like back to his best in the last 2 games. I've been really, really impressed with him. His organisation, his ability on the ball, his know-how in defending. I thought he was absolutely excellent, and I think he's trying to prove a point. He's trying to win his place back into the team, which is exactly what we want. If we've got a fit and firing Kieran Trippier that we can manage and look after, I don't want him going anywhere. I don't want him leaving the club. A fit and firing Kieran Trippier can only be a good thing for Newcastle United. And if we want to be where we want to be at the end of the season, which is in a European spot, we need good players in all positions. So for me, these last couple of performances rules out any sort of move for Kieran Trippier in the January transfer window for me. I think he's fine. I think he's frustrated. But don't be surprised if Kieran Trippier is starting at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday morning. or Saturday early afternoon. I fully expect him to, and I just thought I thought it was an important point to mention about that. But did you talk about Shaw and his yellow card? If I missed that?
We briefly
Yeah,
touched
well,
on
we
it,
just
mate.
touched on it.
Yeah. Well, the important thing was tonight is Eddie Howe said that Sven Botman will be in the squad for the next 2 games.
Ooh.
He's missed out. I think he's only missed out recently because of illness. He revealed tonight he's had a bit of illness. I think he would have been in the squads otherwise. But obviously, with the situation with Shaw, means that he'll be in and around the squad now. That'll probably be a topic of conversation for us about whether he starts or starts from the bench or starts in the 11 for the game against Tottenham. But for me, that's a big plus. Big plus. Having Big Sven back in and around the reckoning, exactly what we needed. But yeah, I thought it was really poor from Shaw tonight. If I can say there's only one negative, and I don't want to talk about it, is that he didn't need to hold on to Rasmus Højlund there. We were mopping up everything in and around Shaw and Højlund having that battle. To be fair, I thought he was brilliant in his battle against Højlund. Really got the better of him, really wound him up.
Yeah, he was.
He didn't need to continue that. He just didn't need to do that little bit extra that got him the yellow card. We just needed to be a bit smarter about that situation. So he'll be frustrated. Howe will be frustrated, but having Botman coming back in and having a bit of a toss-up between him and Lloyd Kelly, I imagine, will be, will soften the blow, so to speak. What do you think about it, boys?
Yeah, it's a chance for Lloyd Kelly now as well. I was just going to ask the question: who do you think is going to come in? But Lloyd Kelly is probably the obvious choice to come in for that particular game. But he needs to redeem himself after he's the last time he played for us. Anyway, so it's a chance for him to get back his foot in the door again with Botman sitting on the bench to get a few minutes as well, maybe. Anything else you want to say there, Chris?
For me, I think I would bring. Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it? I don't know if I'd start Botman against Tottenham, and the only reason being, I'm thinking more of Botman. I'll be honest. I kind of had, and I'm sure Eddie Howe did as well to a degree. Kind of had the Bromley game in mind for Sven Botman. Not saying he won't appear against Tottenham because he could well do, but I wouldn't start him only because I wouldn't want to ruin his confidence after such a long time out. It'd be nice to give him a game where he should be able to just breeze into it and just kind of, Newcastle have the majority of the ball, and because against Bromley, I expect that will be the case, and just to ease him in, because we're thinking long term, thinking over the future with Sven Botman. I'd love to throw him back in, don't get me wrong, and if Eddie Howe does, and obviously Eddie's confident that he's fine, but I think I would be more inclined. I think I'd be more inclined to go with. Kelly, and I'm just trying to decide whether Kelly would go left centre back or whether Byrne would. I think I'd put Kelly left centre back. I think I'd put Kelly right centre back. I think I'd have Kelly right centre back and Byrne left centre back against Tottenham. That's probably what I'd do. What about you, Pete?
Yeah. I think Kelly will start. If they were both fit and firing, I think it's a non-question, because I think Sven would start, but I think they will just be a little bit more cautious with him, bringing him into the game. I think if it was a home game, for example, if it was a game on, I think ideally they would have wanted his first start to be Bromley, but it might well change off the back of it. But they may well start Kelly. Kelly will have to play on the left. I think Byrne will shift on the right. And it was interesting. There was moments in that second half where Byrne was actually playing for a period of time on that right-hand side, whether that was planned or not, or whether it was just a shift in position due to who was marking who at that particular time. But I think he would maybe have to shift over to that side. It's always difficult when you've got two left-footers, but I think Kelly may well start. It all depends on how Botman is. Botman's so good. So good. If I could trust anyone to come in cold into a game like that, it's Sven Botman. And I love the guy, so I might well sway myself towards him. let's see how the days pan out.
Well, let's look at the team photo as well. The celebration ones, as we love to show this. And cheers, Chris, for uploading this. But here it is. My first time looking at it now as well.
Get in, love it, boys.
Everyone
look
in
at
there.
that.
So
We this is our first one at OT. First no winners. Winner photo. Oh no, sorry, we had one in the cup, didn't we? So the second one.
Yeah.
the league, the League Cup we did, yeah. Can Santa Claus is in the middle as well. Nice one, love it. Right, boys, I'll bring up the table again because we didn't really get to talk about it. Then we go to some questions. But yeah, we had a few results that went. Was it 2-0? I think it was the final result 2-0 Ipswich against Chelsea.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
And Villa 2-2.
Cool.
Nice.
And of course we're right behind them now, just 3 points behind them. So yeah, of course, as you discussed a bit in top table talk this morning, Forest are flying high, but they could be taken down a peg or two. Arsenal yet to play. They play tomorrow. Arsenal, it's Brentford, I think. But yeah, we are looking. We're sitting pretty there in 5th spot ahead of Man City, and the chasing pack behind us. Then again, who are all doing pretty well. 2-2, I think, was the final score. The score I saw anyway with Villa and Brighton.
Yes.
Yeah.
2-2. Brighton got a late equaliser.
Yeah, cool. Nice. Cool. That's Anthony. Glad to see you want to say on the table.
I think the only thing I was going to say was just it's great that we are where we are. Like I say, if you'd asked me this 4 weeks ago, I'd have said I didn't think it was possible. I look at it now. I mean, to be a point halfway through the season, and if you'd have said to me at the start of the season, halfway through the season, you'll be ahead of Man City, like that would have been incredible. I appreciate that City are having a bit of a wobble at the moment, but. You know, we're within touching distance of Chelsea. We're going to end up being 5 points away from Forest because I imagine Arsenal will win. So there's a bit of a gap. I think Liverpool-Arsenal will be difficult to catch, if I'm being honest. But we're right in the frame, boys, for third, 4th, and 5th, right in the frame because I expect Man City will improve. Obviously, they've got that win against Leicester. It doesn't mean they're back necessarily, but you know, it was a big win for them. But it's you know, we're 3 points ahead of Aston Villa, we're 5 points ahead of Brighton, and we're 8 points ahead of Tottenham, and we're playing Tottenham. So we potentially, if we beat Tottenham next weekend, we're going to be 11 points ahead of Tottenham with 20 games played. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And like I say, we've got a really nice fixture schedule to look forward to in January, and it's just important that we maintain this momentum and we keep going and we keep doing what we're doing because we're playing fantastically well. And we've just got to keep that professionalism up and make sure that we get the points on the board. I think, you know, we said, didn't we, boys, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but we said, didn't we, that we would be reasonably happy with 4 points in the next 2 games. We've got 3 of them. So if we go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and get a draw, yeah. But if we go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and get a draw, you're going to look at it, aren't you, and go, do you know what? It's not a bad return. And then we've got those fixtures in January to look forward to. But Pete, what are your thoughts when you look at the table, Pete?
I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. But yeah, I am very proud of what we've done so far in this short period of time from that Brentford defeat, and what we've done since is absolutely superb. It's season changing in what we've done in those last 4 or 5 games. It's really given us a positive outlook. It's changed the narrative. It was only 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was a conversation about, you know, we're going to struggle maybe even to get Europe. That was the conversation. Even I was maybe thinking that at a point. And now it's a case of, hold on a second, you know, 5th place gets Champions League, 8th can potentially get Europe. we're right in the mix for European football. Right in the mix, and not on the peripheries. We are right in the mix for it. And being 3 points behind Chelsea, going into the next set of fixtures, it is a massive incentive, is to really stamp our authority on it. Because as we've talked about previously, we looked on previous shows, we've looked at the games to come in January. Take the league away and the FA Cup away from, the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup away from that for a second. Look at who we've got in January and early Feb. You could argue that after this game on Saturday, that we can go and win every single one of them. 3 out of the 4 being at home. That fills me with massive confidence that, if we do what we know we're capable of and what we can do, that, this season is our oyster. What our potential is anything. We've got to keep playing and keep playing the way that we're playing. We've got to keep playing with the same belief. We've got to keep, the togetherness in the team. Everybody's working for everybody. Everybody is on tune. Everybody knows what their role in their job is. Everybody seems so motivated at the moment to be the best that they can possibly be. It's an amazing thing to see. And when we're like that, anything's possible. You just look at 2 years ago. This is exactly the same moment that we're in, the same sort of confidence we're going into games against. But this time, we've got technically better players to be able to see us through these games. And that's the difference. We may well have won 2 years ago at Old Trafford. We're unlucky not to win. We think it was a 0-0 draw. But the difference is Sandro Tonali, Lewis Hall, players of that technical quality that can make a difference in the game. Tino Livramento in there. You had these players that got technical ability, quality on the ball, that open up space and time. It just allows us to be. We are better now than we were 2 years ago. But this league is just as open as it was 2 years ago. World's our oyster, boys. Play with this confidence, and anything's possible. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Chris, let's go into some questions.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? We've got some really good questions. Now, I know we've already touched on this. Tom Dixon says, now with Shaw suspended against Spurs on Saturday, who would you replace him with? Daz, I don't know if we got your thoughts on this, but what would you do in terms of Fabian Schär being missing on the weekend?
Yeah, first of all, I don't think Krafku is back. He's still returning he's still on the mend, let's say. First choice would be Botman, and make it work with Botman in. And I know he's played a few of the reserve games, so there's a chance that might happen. But I'd say the more realistic one is probably Kelly, putting Kelly in there.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, mate. Makes sense. This is a hell of a start from Jonathan Casely. Jonathan Casely says, I think I'm correct in saying that this is the 4th consecutive keeper that has had his first touch against us picking the ball out of the net, starting with the Brentford sub-keeper in the cup. Hell of a start, if that's true. Hell of a start. Yeah.
Dominic Scurll will be on that one.
Oh, he will.
Knows the stat.
Yeah, he does. He will, absolutely. Daniel 4224. Schär will be a big miss against Spurs. He absolutely will. But if we do manage to get 3 points against them, we have to be confident of achieving Champions League football this year. Pete, I know you were kind of alluding to that earlier. Is that how you feel? Do you agree with what Daniel's put there?
I do. I don't really want to say it openly right now, but you pushed me to it, Chris. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm the only one. There's a couple of boys in the Midlands Mags chat that feel the same, and they've kind of been holding back to see. And it's not just because of the wins; it's the way we're playing. It's the style of play. It's the way we're putting ourselves together, and we're going to these big places and we're getting results. And if we can go to Spurs and win and do what we did tonight, we have to be in that conversation for Champions League. We were talking about it today. The chances of England getting the 5th spot is as high as it possibly could be.
Crazy,
without it being a guarantee, it's as high as it could be.
Yeah.
It would take something absolutely monumental for England not to get a 5th spot. So it's looking like England will get the 5th spot for the Champions League this season.
Yeah.
And so that opens up a different conversation. The longer we can keep in the mix with the likes of Chelsea and Man City and be in that conversation, the better chance we have. Forest are in that conversation and doing really, really well right now, and they're being talked about Champions League football. Well, we're 4 or 5 points behind them. We're more than capable of reducing that and hopefully taking them over at some point. But ultimately, yeah, I do think we're in the race. I think first point of call is guaranteeing European football. Then it's a case of looking up and saying, how high can we possibly go? But whilst we're in 5th spot and we're on the tails of Chelsea, who have been lauded as having a superb season, then why not? Why not go for it? There's a stat here today that I don't think many teams would have. And BBC Sport put this out, and it said all 10 of Newcastle's outfield players either had a shot or created a chance in the first half against Man United. In the first half, every single outfield player either had a shot or created a chance.
Jesus.
That is domination there. That is domination, to have every outfield player to create that opportunity and have a chance of scoring. That is just it's crazy stats. Like we're going to teams, we're scoring for fun, we're keeping clean sheets. Does it remind you of anything? 'Cause it does for me. Don't do it.
Yes,
Don't.
I'm not doing it. I'm tempted to delete that music from the system because we'd be tempted, but no, not until Elite, not until we're there, not until we're over the line. This is the first day of the season. People, I'll clip that up if and when we get there. Yeah, coming soon.
I'm going to come to you next, Daz, for the question first. I will come to Pete, but I'll come to you first on it, Daz. Are you going to argue with DB NUFC 1983? Because I don't know if I can. Lewis Hall is the best left back in the league in form.
%100% agree with DB NUFC 1983. I absolutely love Lewis Hall. He is just absolutely class, you know. And to think that we didn't play him at all last year, and I know the reason why Eddie wanted to get him up to a certain speed, but wow, that has worked. And that gives me hope for Asula then as well. On top of that, I know it's a different type of role. Obviously, he's a striker in comparison, but it just it's absolutely amazing. And he's class. It's like I saw there's Sky Sports there during the week, and they were showing. I don't know. It was on Gillette Soccer Saturday, and they were putting their teams together for the team of the season so far, and none of them had Lewis Hall in there as the left back. I was like,
who was the left back? Can you remember?
I can't remember now.
Probably Robertson.
No, I can't remember. I'd have to look it up.
He's been
Antoine Robertson.
Oh,
yes,
mate,
yes,
I'm just thinking because it's Liverpool.
That's who it was.
That's why.
Oh
no, not Liverpool. The Fulham.
Robinson. Did you, Daz? Is that right?
Oh, did you say Robinson or Robertson?
He see there was about 5 different teams. They each picked their team, and Antoine Robinson for Fulham appeared in a few of them.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's okay. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's not
I can't remember the rest. Yeah.
The easier way to answer that question is to say, tell me who's better than him, rather than is he better than everybody else. Someone tell me who could even be in that conversation. Robinson, okay. Maybe he's had a decent season. I don't think he's. I personally, I don't think he's been as good as Hall. Ain't Nori has been decent, but he hasn't been on that level for me personally. Other than that, I'm not putting anyone. Gvardiol, no chance. Robertson, no chance. I don't know who's been playing left back for Arsenal, but no chance. So you're cutting them out very, very quickly in terms of who's going to be on his level. But look, let's just be glad that he's playing for Newcastle United. Let's just be glad that Eddie Howe has developed him into the monster that he is today. He's England's left back moving forward. He's a tremendous player. And what impresses me mostly, boys, about Lewis Hall is not his attacking strengths. We knew that coming in when he first signed. It's his development defensively. He's defensively becoming very solid again. Another couple of monster blocks today. Putting his body on the line in defensive positions. They're the things that I needed to see, because they're the areas that he needed to develop on. The attacking stuff has always been there, and will get better and better. But what I'm seeing from him defensively really, really impresses me. That's what makes him the overall all-round better defender, best left back in the league. Superb stuff. Love it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And to think he nearly went to Crystal Palace on loan. So look who he got in there and got that one done.
Absolutely. Tangy Vivid with an interesting one. He says Chelsea have only got 1 point from Everton away, Fulham at home, and Ipswich away. Ipswich's first win at home, dropping 8 points from a possible 9. Really, really, really good point, Tangy. And I think, Chelsea having a little bit of a wobble at the moment. I noticed Maresca came out the other day, didn't he? And he said about Madueke. And funnily enough, I was going to bring it up to you boys, and I totally forgot. It's just popped in my head now. Saying that Madueke had been left out for tactical reasons. And I was like, oh, because a few weeks ago, Madueke was being spoken about as one of the best wingers in the Premier League. And now all of a sudden, Maresca's dropped him for tactical reasons. Is Chelsea having a bit of a wobble? I also saw something in our chat today, Pete, on Top Table Talk. Someone saying about Cole Palmer being too greedy, too selfish, and that it could end up holding Chelsea back. I mean, I suppose my general question from this Tangy comment is, do you think Chelsea will turn it round? Do you think now is the time to really get in there while Chelsea are having a few struggles?
They lack a bit of experience. They've got good players, good top elite young players, but they do lack a bit of experience. And I think that's where we, have a real good balance within that. We've got those experienced players that we are looking to kind of replace or bring competition in for, but they don't really have that. They've just got a load of really young players. And when you have a load of young players in one squad together, you get sometimes a little bit of naivety at times. And although in big moments they produce some big moments and big results, what you see now is a little bit of a lull, which you get with young players every so often. You get a bad performance here or a bit of a rough patch there. But the problem is, because they're all young, you're finding that it's all happening at one time. And look, this is a learning curve. And maybe Charlie's right in what he was saying, is that they see this season very much as a learning curve, and it will stand them in good stead for the next season. And maybe this is just what you're seeing. But I think because we've got a lack of, I don't want to say real challenges, because anybody can challenge for the league. And there's a lack of proper challenge for Liverpool. I think everyone or people almost want Chelsea to be that team, because they're a big club. They've got history and heritage of winning trophies. And ultimately, it just looks like everyone else is playing for second, because Liverpool are running away with it so much. Everyone else is playing for second, but hey, put me in that playing for second, Mark, because I tell you what, if Forest and all props to Forest, by the way, that's no disrespect at all. If Nottingham Forest can be pushing for second place and putting these sorts of results in, well, sign me up, because I'd love to be in that mix.
Absolutely. Daz, are you thinking much about Chelsea?
No, I thought highly of Chelsea, that what Maresca had done with them, and he was going on a brilliant run with them as well. And they did look like potential challengers to Liverpool, but even though Charlie was having none of it, but yeah, it is actually great to see that they're falling apart now, because it lets us in as well. So we're hunting down Chelsea as well as hunting down Forest, and yeah, let us be in that mix and battle it out for the positions at the top end of the table. But yeah, they'll come back on form again. Give them a chance. Maybe it's just the Christmas period as well. They just went a bit mad over Christmas.
Yeah.
Boys, can I just throw something out there? Just the super chat in here from Kenneth Bell.
Oh,
So thank you, Kenneth Bell, for your 199. He's
Cheers,
put, got to give Eddie money to spend in the window. And boy, this is what I was touching on earlier. Is it something that we must do now, moving forward? We have to invest in this squad. If there's ever a time to do it, we must do this in January. Are you boys feeling the same? How are you feeling about the January window now, being just a couple of days away from starting up? Daz?
come on, Daz.
Yeah, no, definitely. We need to spend. I don't think even if we were in mid-table, or if we or sitting in fifth, I think they'll still go with the same approach. So the results haven't altered things drastically. So they have a plan. They better have a plan, and then let's see it to fruition now. And some movement, maybe outgoings and incomings in January. It will be very interesting to see who we're left with come the end of January. Also, I think the second leg of the cup is in February, into February. So how we are after that first leg in the League Cup as well against Arsenal, and then also we're waiting then on news of the stadium as well, maybe in February/March kind of time, and we'll see where things are. So a lot of things to happen, a lot of moving parts now over the next 2 months plus.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Daz. If anything, I would say my insistence that we spent in January has only increased, because we spoke about this not so long ago, didn't we, boys? I think that we referred back to the Pardew days, where we finished fifth and then we didn't invest sufficiently. And I think there was a period as well where we were talking about the January transfer window, not January gone, the January before, I believe it was, and saying that we need to make sure that we invest. But I think now, I'm hoping the owners are looking at this league table, or Eddie Howe's saying to the owners, look where we are. Let's try and kick on. We've got an opportunity here to, Pete, you mentioned seconds. We've got an opportunity to be fighting, and aim for the stars. If you're aiming for seconds and we just miss out on it, that means we finish third, fourth, or fifth. That's what we need to be doing. And there's no reason why we can't be challenging, because you're looking at the other teams outside of Liverpool at the moment and you're going, we could give these a game. Tottenham are underperforming, Villa are underperforming, Brighton are underperforming, Man City are underperforming, and you're thinking, well, why can't we be in that conversation? Arsenal losing Saka, it's huge. I saw Dan Potts on his channel talking about Arsenal needing to recruit in order to replace Saka. It's a great opportunity, boys. It's a fantastic opportunity, and I just hope that we go out there and rather than go, oh, we'll be fine, or we'll make do with what we've got. No, go out there and try and make an impact. Try and bring someone in who you're going to go, oh God, he's if we got a player in now in January who could come in and get anywhere between 5 and 10 goals and assists, that'd be huge. It'd be absolutely huge. Imagine the points that would gain us, and then that could make all the difference. Really, really could.
Now, the key to that is, of course, we're saying about January, in that we this is the time to invest and all the rest of it. But as we've said on this channel numerous times over the last few shows, we know we have to get rid of players in order to bring players in.
Yeah,
so the importance is moving on these players now, in saying, right, now's your time to leave. You look at just think about this for a second, boys. Think about the players that we've been linked with recently. I'm not saying that we're going to get any of these players, but just say these players that we've been linked with. You're looking at Kushinov, Mott Gay, Bakayoko. You know, just as a few. Even your Semenyos and your Mbuemos, and you're looking at players like that are being linked with us. This is one of the most watched leagues in the world. The only game that's televised tonight, Man United against Newcastle United, and they're sitting at home wherever they are, and they're watching Newcastle United. They're every single one of them are going, love to play in that team, love to play, love to be in that, love to be there. Love to be with that group of boys now. The way they play, the way they move the ball, it looks effortless. If I'm Bakayoko, I'm going, I get opportunities in that team. If I'm Kushnov, I'm thinking, yeah, I've got a solid unit around me. I could really do a job there. This is the time to invest. You've got your moment. We're up. We're playing well. Everyone's talking about this. We've got the best striker in Europe, banging in the goals for Newcastle United. What better time to invest? Get rid of your Miggies. Thank you for your service. Bye-bye. Matt Target, thank you for your service. Go find your football elsewhere. Martin Dubravka, give you massive props. Fair play to you. Fully deserved and done really, really well. But we need to invest. Off you go. And then bring your players in. And really go, you know what? We're going for it. We're going to really go and attack this second half of the season. Sometimes it's about moments. Making your moments and investing in moments brings you better success or more chance of success. This is the time to do it. If we let it slide, it could bite us on the backside, and I don't want it to do that because we're in such a great moment right now.
Yeah,
but it's so important, boys.
Pete, you mentioned a word beginning with moments. I'm going to mention another word beginning with and it's motivation. And I bring up the league table again. If you're I can't see it. Here it is. So if you're Arsenal and you know, hey, we've no hope of winning the league again, we've fallen short in terms of the league. Are they going to lose motivation in the league? Not Spurs aren't because they're on a high, so that they are going to keep going. But we're hoping that they falter and go through a bit of a bad spell at some point. But they've done absolutely brilliantly so far. Chelsea, as you said, they were on a great run, but see how they pick themselves up now after this. Man City, we know they'll come back into it a bit, but their motivation and for the league they'll need to get Champions League, obviously, but their motivation will be somewhat diluted as well. And then you have the Bournemouths and Fulhams and Villas after that, but that motivation, I think, it'll come into it as well. And our motivation will be higher. The confidence is high. We just need to maintain it now going into January.
Yeah, totally. And do you know what? That leads me nicely onto my next question. Pete, you've just touched on it, and you know we love to play devil's advocate on this channel. We always do. Tony Beasley says, I'm the same as Pete. Obviously, mentioning what you spoke about before, Pete. He says, I can't really stand Dubravka, but for me, he's made the team look so much more confident as the team knows they can pass back, unlike with Pope. And I must admit, Pete, there was a point in that second half, and the ball kept going back to Dubravka, and he had the ball at his feet. And after the ball had been kicked away, I remember thinking, do you know what? Not at one point when that ball got passed back to Martin Dubravka did I go, oh, fuck. You know, I wasn't panicking. It was just like, no, he's got the ball at his feet, no problem. Sprays it out. I think there was one occasion where he played the ball too long, or he'd hit a Man U player when he's hit it over, something like that. But he just looks so much more assured on the ball. Now, my question to you boys, and I'll start with you, Pete, is going back to what you've just said. My thoughts have always been what you said in terms of, you know, time to move on, got to be ruthless, get him out the door. Are you looking at this as an opportunity where other clubs are looking at Martin Dubravka and going, actually, do you know what? He's doing a good job here. He's doing good. You know, 4 clean sheets, playing really, really well for Newcastle United. Is that going to drive the price up a little bit? Or do you think, on the devil's advocate side of things, are the club looking at it and going, do you know what? Do we want to bring Nick Pope back in straight away? Is it worth, for the sake of £1 million or £2 million? Is it worth keeping hold of Martin Dubravka? Do you think he's had that much of an impact where Eddie Howe and the coaching staff have gone, do you know what? Maybe we stick with him for now. Granted, he hasn't had many shots faced, and granted, he's not been put under huge amounts of pressure. But if you're talking about, you know, a million, 2 million, 3 million, whatever it may be, but it's not huge sums. Is it still? Are you still 110% wanting Martin Dubravka out the door, or are you starting to kind of look at it and go, well, actually, because tell me first, you know, when Martin Dubravka had the ball at his feet, how did you feel tonight? Did you have the same feelings as you do with Nick Pope? Because I've got to be honest, whenever Nick Pope gets given the ball, I'm always thinking, shit, what's he going to do? Or I want him to get rid of it. I didn't have that feeling with Dubravka tonight. So Pete, what are your thoughts on what I just said?
No, I didn't have that feeling when Dubravka got the ball, because that's been the biggest plus for me when Newcastle United have played with Dubravka in goal recently, is that he is significantly better on the ball. There's been an element of calmness whenever he's got the ball. And to be fair, it's not been about shot stopping with Dubravka being in goal, because we've been able to play out from the back, and we've been able to use him as the 11th man to be able to play out of the back and play so well. There's a couple of times in the second half that I think it might have been Hall that really fizzed in a couple of balls into tight spaces into his feet, and he was able to take a good first touch and boot that out. Now, I think it might have been Bournemouth last season where he miskicked one and gifted a goal around this time last year. Which was, a really difficult moment. And he was in a difficult moment, but he's in a really good moment right now. And being honest, if Pope was back fit, I'd probably still keep Dubravka at this moment in time in goal. And that's my feelings on Martin Dubravka, but I would, because it allows the team.
That's a big one.
It allows the team to play better.
Yeah,
and if the team's playing better, look, you boys know me better than most, and I will criticize players when I've got an opinion on them, but equally I will praise them when they've done something good. And Martin Dubravka has been very, very good with the ball at his feet for Newcastle United in recent games. So fair play to him, but you've got to weigh up, is it time to move on and get something from him? With PSR, every bit of money counts. Every bit of money goes towards what we can spend. It was talked about quite openly in a couple of pieces. Newcastle have got the money to spend. They have got the money to spend, but they need to get money in order to justify the PSR. And we don't have to get the same money in. We don't. If we want to go and spend, I think Craig Hope did a really good piece on this today. We don't have to go and spend 70 million. We don't have to recoup 70 million if we want to spend 70 million. We can go and spend 70 million, but we don't have to get that much back in to justify it. It's a lot less, but we need to make sales. And if we can get a few million for him, get him off the wage book, it might allow us to go and spend a bit more money in the market. Does it mean that we go out and get a new goalkeeper that's good with the ball at his feet? Then maybe, who knows? But for me, giving props to Dubravka, absolutely. He fully deserves it. He's been playing really well at the moment. You can't argue with four clean sheets out of 5 games. But there is a big decision to be made, because Pope will be back fit soon, and there are teams interested in him. It's whether we make that moment and move him on. But I'll be absolutely clear, if we move him on, we need to bring in another goalkeeper. So they've got big decisions to make off the back of that. But yeah, big props to Dubravka. Fair play to him. He is doing bits at this moment in time, and he's making us play better. Fair play.
Yeah. Daz, where are you on Dubravka?
Yeah, for me, it's all about the fee. So like it's great. He's in the shop window now, and he's doing himself a whole lot of favors, because and us favors too in the, if we want to try and sell him, because if we get 5 million for him, let's say, and his wages off the books, then it makes sense to do it. But if we're only, as you say, Chris, if we're only getting 1 million for him and his wages off the books, I would hang on to him and then go big in the summer on a new number one. But if he's going, so Pete, linking back to what Pete said, if he's going in January, and how that works out, then because we do need to bring in someone else, because Eddie Howe won't play Audi anywhere. He played him for a couple of minutes in one of the games, but no. So for me, we can pay that 5 million for him, and then it makes sense, and then we go and invest that in another keeper. It may not necessarily be our number one going into the future, but someone that can challenge to be the number one, like Trafford. That's it.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, mate. I'm gonna. Well, there's 2 more questions. I'm combining 2, and then we've got 1 more. So I'll just quickly go on this. But Z, who was in the chat earlier, Pete, I'm sure you saw this, but he said, Pete, I know you might disagree. Newcastle deserved their win, but Man United had their chances to level the game. And then Z also goes on to says, loaded Mag, I agree you dominated the first 40 minutes, but after that you didn't have a shot in the second half. You parked the double-decker bus. I mean, I had to start those comments because we absolutely deserved the win. The fact that Z thinks that, you know, that Man United had the chances. I mean, that to me, that's a little bit murky, because Man United did have a couple of chances, don't get me wrong, but I do firmly believe, like we said at the start of the show, that we didn't really get out of fair gear in that second half. And, you know, the fact that he's saying we parked the double-decker bus, like that wasn't the second half I was watching, Z, I've got to be honest. I think, like I say, we didn't get out of fair gear, and we just basically were going through the motions to see the 45 minutes out. I don't think we had to go into 4th or 5th gear, and I think if we had done, we'd have scored even more. It almost felt, and tell me if you think I'm wrong here, boys, it almost felt a little bit like we were kind of reserving our energies for future games. It was a case of job's done, you know, just go through the motions, see the game out, do enough, but don't overexert yourselves. That's kind of how I saw the second half. And that's where there was a little bit of frustration, because I almost wanted us to score 4, 5, 6, you know, go mad on them. But then why do that? Why an expression you use quite often, Pete, why go to the well when you don't have to? We didn't have to, so why do it? Just see the game out and manage it in the correct manner. Don't get any bookings, don't get any injuries, don't run yourselves into the ground, because you don't need to. I mean, Pete, is that how you saw it?
100%. I'm with you, Chris. 110%. It's easy for a Man U fan to say that, and they want to try and justify their performance and see a little chink of light. I get it. We've been there many a time before in years gone by. But the reality is that we absolutely dismantled Man United and said, we'll leave it there. We'll save ourselves for a tougher game next week. And we'll save ourselves for a tougher game in midweek next week against Arsenal. That's what the best teams do. Is it what they do? We've already proven we can go 90 minutes. We can go 90 minutes full throttle. We proved it 2 years ago. We've proven it this season more recently. But that's the bit that I'm impressed with. And this is the bit that I'm impressed with more than anything, is that I wanted it, like you, Chris, like you, Dad. I wanted it. We had their foot on the neck. Let's get 5, 6. Let's pummel them into the ground. Let's make it a famous, memorable win. Well, it was still famous and memorable because we decided when we put the lights out. We put the lights out 2-0. Could have been 3, could have been 4 at half time. We've gone in at half time and gone, yeah, that's all right. Let's make sure they don't concede. Let's frustrate them. And if you think parking the bus is what we did in the second half, then you weren't watching the same game as me, fella. I'm sorry. Because what we did is manage the game exceptionally well. What we then did is go, you have the ball, come break us down, and then we'll hit you on the counter. And when we couldn't hit you on the counter, and we had chances to, we went, nah, it's all right, turn back. Let's keep possession for 2 or 3 minutes. Let's make you run for the ball for a couple of minutes. And what we did, we just killed the steam out of the game. Killed the steam out of the game. Man United looked for hit and hope. They just hit and hope a ball into the box and hope that it fell to someone to try and get them back in the game. They didn't create anything of any need, of any quality, of any substance that made you think that they were remotely getting back into that game. And the reason that I was worried about that potentially happening is not because they played well, it's because Man United do get lucky. They get lucky. And I didn't want them to get lucky today. And what we proved,
they always have.
They do, particularly at Old Trafford. And what we did today is go, nah, not today. Not today. Not on our terms. And we dictated that game. And they were terrible. You're absolutely right, Mark. They were absolutely terrible. But that's because we made them terrible. And that's the narrative I want to keep for tonight, boys. And for anyone, lads and lasses in this chat, that's the narrative that we keep on social media. That's the narrative that we keep moving forward. It's not about Man United. It's about Newcastle United. We're the reason why it was 2-0 today. We're the reason why they're pummeled into the ground yet again. We're the reason, okay, that game is being talked about so much. I'm so glad that Jamie Carragher, for a change, Sky have emphasised Newcastle United after that win and not talking about all Man United woes. No, that's about Newcastle United. That's what we did tonight. We dismantled them on their patch, on their turf, and we made it absolute light work. It was light work today. Superb stuff.
Yeah. Daz, was that your reflection on the game? Did you feel like we'd just managed it incredibly well and we just kind of relaxed a little bit and just kind of said, you know what, the game's done? Is that how you saw it, or did you think we parked the bus? Because I know I didn't.
No, we didn't park the bus, but we managed to, like, all about game management to see it through. But I do have to say that I don't think Amarin got it wrong. He should have started Kobe Mayo from the start, because when he came on, they looked more solid, and it immediately kicked them into gear, and they did put us under a bit of pressure then. We were 2-0 up at that stage, but they did try and come at us, especially in the start of the second half. But we hit them on counters after that as well. But no, it was a job done, and that's what we need to learn how to do that as well. Because we have been hitting goals for fun. We won't always have it that way as we move forward. So no, we deserved our victory today for sure.
Yeah. The Clon lad says, watch the game in a pub full of Man United fans. Never seen the darts put on at half time and full time so quick ever. Loved it. Love that, mate. Love that, mate.
Nice one, the Clon.
Yeah. Right, and then last question, boys. It is an interesting one. Lee Jones asks, was the first 30 minutes better than when we beat Spurs 6-1? Daz, go start with you, mate.
No, not for me, but because that one was bang, 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 goals going left, right, and centre. You didn't have time to breathe. We're playing Man United. I always love to get one over Man United, but that 6-1 it was still special. Even remember Pete Graves describing it to us. He's a young lad, was the ball boy on that particular day, and then by the time he got to his seat, we're like two goals up or something crazy like that. So that was something unbelievable that day. It was a bit more measured. If we could continue on after the 2 goals, then maybe, but no, not for me.
Pete.
Not as good as the 6-1, no. That 45 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever you want to call it, was something very, very special. But that for me is one of the best 45 minutes away performances that I've seen for Newcastle United in years. And actually, I got a message on the 12th man chat from LB saying that's the best 45 minutes he's seen from a team this season. That was his words. And as well as that, and I agree with what I'm about to say right now, is what LB said. He reckons our midfield 3 is the best in the Premier League. And I agree with him. Absolutely. Yeah. He's watched that game intently.
Yeah.
It's taking time for it to come together, and if anyone heard Eddie Howe's bit with Sky before the game, and they describe how putting Tonali in the number 6 role and it's freed up Bruno or something like that, and it's like what made you think of that? I'll go with that approach and stuff like that. I was expecting him to say, "I watched Loaded Mag." That's why he got the idea from. But he didn't say it. He didn't admit it.
Come on, Eddie.
Eddie, come on.
Oh. Do you know what though? It does. You know what I do. I mean, it's great to hear that from LB, Pete. I think that's really positive, to hear that from a neutral. But I think as well, it's also exciting because you look at our three and you go, right, we're set. We're three are set in midfield. You've then got Gordon on the left. You've got Isak through the middle. That right wing position, not casting any shades here on Jacob Murphy, because, again, I thought he performed pretty well. And, you think, right, so we bring in a new right winger. You then look at the back four and you go, right, well, right back was sorted with Tino and Trippier, potentially, if Trippier's still here. Left back, were absolutely sorted. You're probably wanting to bring in maybe an understudy for Lewis Hall if he is ever out. And then in the centre-back position, you're going, okay, well, I'm happy with Byrne, I'm happy with Shah. However, we know Sven Botman's going to come back in. If we bring in that right-sided centre-back as well, and then you look at the goalkeepers. So you're looking, boys, aren't you? You're looking at a number one, you're looking at a right-sided centre-back, you're looking at a right winger, and all of a sudden you're going, hang on, this is looking like a really good starting 11. And then you start slowly adding to the squad on the underbelly of that first 11, and you're increasing you're increasing the performance, well, not the performance, but you're increasing the quality of that squad under the 11, and all of a sudden you've got the makings of a fantastic squad. So it just shows we're not that far away. That midfield three is absolutely superb, and we saw that with the subs, didn't we? Obviously when Willett come on, when Barnes come on, you go in a little bit of strength and depth here. So we're really not that far away, boys. We're really, really not. But no, fantastic to hear that from LB. Any Man City fan who, and LB is incredibly knowledgeable as well, but any Man City fan who's saying that we've got the best midfield in the Premier League, it's not bad, is it? Not bad.
I don't know.
Missing Rodri. I think he's still missing Rodri.
Definitely. But that's it for the questions, boys. That's it for the questions.
Buzzing. Absolutely buzzing.
Nice one. That's it for the show as well. We'll bring the show to a close. Pete, I believe you're wandering on to another show after this. Do you want to tell? Even though the people will get redirected, if you stay in the chat, you will get redirected to the next show. But tell people where you're going.
Yeah, come and join us. Make sure you give a loaded raid in the chat as you go over there. Come and join us on Never a Foul. You're going to be redirected shortly. We're gonna have a chat with Kaz for a little bit, the Man United fan Kaz, and we'll have some fun. We'll do it in a respectable way, but we'll have some fun on there. Heading over there very much now. Loaded raid incoming. Let's get that done, boys.
Where are the shades, Pete? Where are the shades?
These ain't coming off, boys. These ain't coming off.
Nice one. All right. See you in the next one, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy New Year as well. If you don't see us, Happy New Year, everyone.
Amazing.
See you soon. Good night, everyone.
Sir.